We're here for the first episode of our new series, Musical Tarot Cards, the series where we pick 36 albums for every tarot card. I'm Laura Ingraham, and this is Sarah Palin, Michelle Bachmann, Ann Coulter, Megan Kelly, Marjorie Green, Lauren Boebert, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ayanna Presley, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Jamal Bauman, Cori Bush, Paris Hilton, Alex Trebek, Pat Sajak, Vanna White, Ken Jennings, James Holzhauer, Brad Rutter, Anne Frank, Mindy McCready, Greta Thunberg, Ponyboy Curtis, Soda Pop Curtis, Derry Curtis, Steve Randall, Two-Bit Matthews, Dally Winston, Johnny Cade, Phileas Fogg, Megan Phelps Roper, Ellen Ripley, Jeanette McCurdy, Miranda Cosgrove, and Archie Bunker, and today's tarot card is the Fool. For this tarot card, we'll be picking upbeat, whimsical, and creative music. Let's get started.
Let me kick this off since I'm the biggest fan of this band here, and they're the most obvious band that fits this description.
I have a feeling I know who you're gonna pick. Go ahead, Brad.
My pick is Magical Mystery Tour by the Beatles. Anyone who knows me knows I love this band. And while Magical Mystery Tour isn't my favorite of their work, I had to pick it for a couple reasons. One, the title, Magical Mystery Tour, sounds like a whimsical children's TV show. Two, the cover art looks like an exceptionally ugly version of a whimsical TV show. And three, there's a song on here called The Fool on the Hill. I had to. Any of the Beatles' later work could have fit here, because they're all upbeat. They all have a decent amount of experimentation, and the lyrics are basically psychedelic drug trips. However, since we're only doing one album per artist, I picked Magical Mystery Tour because I thought it fit the best. So, Laura, did you know who I was gonna pick?
Yep, I knew you were gonna pick the Beatles. I'm surprised you didn't pick Abbey Road, but I guess you couldn't resist referencing The Fool on the Hill.
All you need is love.
I'll go next, and as a Jules Verne character, I feel contractually obligated to pick a steampunk album. So, I'll go with Steam-Powered Stories by The Cog is Dead. This album is so unique that even Rate Your Music has no clue how to label it, and it tells some fun steampunk-inspired stories. Songs like Mechanical Menagerie, The Copper War, and The Depths Below read like early science fiction novels set to music. Jules Verne and H.G. Wells would be proud of this.
Damn it, Phileas. I wanted to be the first person to pick a steampunk album.
Too bad, Pat.
Mr. Hamilton, you dirty fiend. Your modern timepiece is cruel and obscene.
I'm gonna make my pick before you two goofballs start a play fight. For my pick, I'll go with something a bit darker, though it still fits the description of The Fool pretty well. My pick is Spooky Songs for Creepy Kids by Voltaire. This is a dark cabaret album for children. It has lots of fun, spooky Halloween jams for goth parents to play for their kids, including songs from kids' cartoons, video games, and a Twilight-inspired version of Vampire Club. It's great if you're an adult, too. Also, can we take a minute to admire the fact that Voltaire created dark kids' music and no parents have gotten mad at him?
I'll bet they would have gotten mad if he was more famous.
Good point.
Fur was flying, capes were torn. Hell had no fury like a werewolf's born. Number one rule in this clan: slay the undead who invade your land.
For my pick, I'll go with 10,000 Gex by 100 Gex. This is a hyperpop album with elements of various types of rock, including pop-punk, third-wave ska, and nu metal. It's upbeat, fun, and has some of the most bizarre concepts I've heard in music. There's a song about a frog on a floor, a song about getting your tooth removed disguised as a breakup song, and a song about Doritos and Fritos. Need I say more?
Damn it, Two-Bit. Why can't you stick to stealing switchblades instead of my pick?
Be quiet, Lauren. You wouldn't want to snitch on a fellow Team Counterculture member, would you?
That was a joke, guys. Two-Bit would never steal a switchblade or my pick or anything else for that matter.
Now that you two are done keeping each other's secrets, it's my turn. For my pick, I'm going with Doolittle by the Pixies. This is an early indie rock album that never fails to put a smile on my face. It's just so upbeat and fun. not to mention creative. The way it goes from melodic to noisy is just perfect. That combined with the cryptic lyrics add to the surreal vibe of this one.
I'll go next. My pick is Night at the Carnival by Derek and Brandon Fichter. These guys are YouTube musicians who specialize in fantasy-inspired music, and this album is the first in a series of dark carnival-inspired albums. All of the songs are dark carnival or creepy circus music, and they all have song titles to match. It's Something Wicked This Way comes by Ray Bradbury in musical form, and while it is spooky, it's also oddly relaxing. I'll admit, I throw it on sometimes when I'm reading a book.
Fantasy-inspired music, huh? Sounds like my style.
I thought so too, Pat.
I'll check those guys out.
For my pick, I'll go with Fetch by Melt Banana. This band is a Japanese experimental noise rock band with a female singer. Their singer has one of those stereotypical kawaii voices that Japanese women are known for, but she's doing hardcore punk shouting with that voice, which makes it sound like Elmo from Sesame Street fronting a noise rock band. Despite how unhinged and aggressive the music is, it has just enough upbeat melodies to make it sound less angry and more happy. It's just the kind of chaos I crave in music, and it's a unique take on the description of the Fool.
Why would you want to melt a banana? They're better solid.
I don't know. Why would you want to make a dad joke in the middle of a video? They're better without them.
Stifle yourself, Mindy.
Hey, that's my catchphrase.
Not anymore.
Stifle yourself, Sarah.
Fuck you.
If I go next, will you guys not turn Archie's catchphrase into a running joke for this episode?
Okay.
I make no promises, but I'll try to stop Sarah from doing so.
Okay. For my pick, I'll begin by asking a question. What if grindcore, one of the most intense genres of all time, was combined with electronic music, and instead of being used to increase the intensity, the electronic elements were used to add melody and make the added clean vocals not sound awkward? Well, if that happened, you'd get the album formerly known as Eight-Legged Dance Moves by Bubblegum Octopus, aka my pick for this tarot card. The title alone screams whimsy and creativity. The chiptune and happy hardcore elements make this quite possibly the happiest grindcore album of all time. On top of that, this album delivers on all of the whimsy its title and cover art promise. I'm not normally a fan of this brand of MySpace-era music, but this works for me.
MySpace music, huh? A mix of grindcore, chiptune, and happy hardcore? That sounds right up my alley. Remind me to check that out later.
All right.
I'll go next, and for my pick, I'll go with Greatest Hits by Waterparks. I know a lot of people hate this band's later stuff, but I disagree. Double Dare is a great neon pop punk album and all, but it's nowhere near as creative as their last two albums. Their most recent one, Intellectual Property, is my favorite, but I chose this one for this list because it's the most whimsical. Mainly because the whole tracklist is specifically designed to make you feel like you're having a dream. It's ethereal and chaotic at the same time, and it's also an extremely fun pop rock album with some truly creative hyperpop elements.
I'm not a stalker, but I watch you when you're walking. You call all kinds of people on me.
Can I go next?
Okay, Sarah, but no inside jokes and no ripping off Archie.
Oh, all right.
I'm watching you.
My pick is Emotion by Carly Rae Jepsen. This is a bright, happy pop album that takes influence from the 80s. It's pure, sugary fun, and it proves that Carly Rae Jepsen can actually sing, regardless of what people who have only heard Call Me Maybe think.
I love Carly Rae Jepsen. Good pick, Sarah. My pick is Bonito Generation by Caro Caro Bonito. This is a fun electropop album that never fails to put a smile on my face. It has some Japanese kawaii elements mixed in with a more Western sound, which makes sense since the singer is a British girl of Japanese ancestry. It's pure, sugary fun, and I can't understand not loving it.
I agree with everything you said. My pick is Big Daddy Multitude by Mustard Plug. This is a third-wave ska album, and man, is it catchy. I've heard ska described as the sound that plays in a 10-year-old's head when they're allowed to go to McDonald's, and to me that makes sense. It's pure fun with a lot of whimsical, goofy lyrics. This album cover is hideous, though.
I agree with everything you said, too.
How could it be true? The things they say that they knew. I can't believe it. What has happened to you? I took my time while thinking it through. Digging for facts, believing in you.
Great picks so far. But how has no one mentioned the B-52's self-titled? This one was doing the upbeat and whimsical thing when ska was still a Jamaican genre. It has songs about aliens from Planet Claire and rock lobsters. It's also fun, upbeat, and pop-inspired with just a hint of experimentation. Ska may be the perfect genre for the Fool, but this new wave album is the perfect album for the Fool.
I'd argue my pick makes a better album for the Fool, but whatever.
Of course you'd say yours is the best, Mr. Game Show Villain.
Hey Ellen, your shoe's untied.
Not falling for that one.
Oh well.
We were at a party. The earlobe fell in the day. Someone reached in and grabbed it. Was a rock lobster.
For my pick, I'll go with Imaginarum by Nightwish. This is a concept album about an old man looking back on his life and longing for the childhood dreams he once had. It's told in a very whimsical, imaginative way, as though a dreamy-eyed kid is telling the story. It also got turned into a movie, though I hear the album is better. It's a fun, uplifting album with just a hint of bittersweetness to it.
My pick also has a hint of darkness to it, though it's a very different kind. It's Carnival of Lost Souls by Nox Arcana. These guys are pretty unique. They're a neoclassical darkwave act who make nothing but spooky concept albums. This album is somewhat similar to Megan with an A's pick in that it's dark carnival music in a style that's basically Something Wicked This Way comes by Ray Bradbury in musical form. In fact, I think Nox Arcana themselves admitted that the book was an inspiration for this album. Like Megan, I tend to use this album as background music a lot.
Damn it, Vanna, you stole my pick. Oh well, I've got something else up my sleeve. My pick is The Greatest Show Unearthed by Creature Feature. This is a dark cabaret album. Lyrically, it deals with several childhood fears, including evil children, creepy alphabet books, and dark carnivals. Sure, it's dark, but it's a fun, goofy Halloween brand of darkness with just enough whimsy to make it perfect for this list.
One by one we bite the dust. Kick the buck and begin to rust. Give up the ghost when your numbers up. We all fall down.
My pick is Walking with Strangers by The Birthday Massacre. This album fuses a lot of different genres, including electronic, industrial, synth pop, and gothic rock. It's like a modern take on 80s era goth music. It has a bit of a creepy fairy tale aesthetic, especially with the album cover. It's beautiful, in a twisted kind of way.
Good choice.
Thanks.
My pick is Speedcore 4Kids by the Quick Brown Fox. This falls into an extremely fast subgenre of electronic music called speedcore. It's fun, upbeat dance music that's so fast that it ends up being abrasive. It's still fun, though, and the title adds a bit of whimsy to it. Although, I have a feeling most kids would probably be terrified if you actually played this for them. Parents, be warned.
Okay, I'll warn my son Tyler not to play it for his baby.
Probably smart.
My pick is Oh by Girls' Generation. We need some K-pop on this list.
This album is pure sugary fun. It also has a more distinctively Korean sound than the more recent batch of K-pop artists, who are good but a bit too Americanized. All you BTS, Blackpink, and Stray Kids fans out there, check these ladies out if you want to hear where your favorite groups got their influence from.
Hell yeah! Hopefully someone puts Japan on the map soon.
For my pick, I'll pick a Dungeon Synth album. My pick is Memory Box by Grandma's Cottage. This album falls into a subgenre called comfy synth. It's cozy, relaxing, and it brings back a lot of warm childhood memories. Grandma's Cottage is a comfy synth pioneer, so I think that's enough for this to qualify as creative. I love the idea of taking a traditionally dark genre and making it wholesome.
Good choice, though. I like the idea of taking something wholesome and making it dark better.
That can be good too.
Okay, my turn. My pick is Pretty Odd by Panic at the Disco. This is Panic's attempt at a Beatles album. It has tons of quirky lyrics and bright, happy instrumentation. It's a fun album, and it's a shame that Panic's fan base came down so hard on it back then, because I would have liked to see them do more music like this.
Panic's only good album.
I disagree, but whatever.
Clouds are marching along, singing a song, just like they do. If the clouds were singing a song, I'd sing along, wouldn't you too?
For my pick, I'm going with No Grave But the Sea by Alstorm. This is a folk metal album that has a theme of pirates. It's super catchy and fun, and the humor on songs like Fucked with an Anchor is brilliant. Also, the album reminds me of Pirates of the Caribbean, which is a good thing.
Yo-ho, Mexico! Far to the south where the cactus grow. Tequila and a donkey show. Mexico, Mexico!
My pick is How the Garden Grows by Apoxapon. This falls into a genre called Dungeon Synth, and it is beautiful. Normally Dungeon Synth is a bit moodier, but this one is pretty lighthearted. It sounds like a beautiful spring day in an enchanted garden, where elves and fae are running around and everything is peaceful. If you're as sick of the cold as I am during the winter, play this and imagine you're far away.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
You should. Anyway, what about your pick, Pony Boy?
My pick is The Queen is Dead by The Smiths. This is a jangle pop album, and it has some very whimsical lyrics. Songs like There Is a Light That Never Goes Out and Some Girls Are Bigger Than Others in particular are quite whimsical. The Smiths are also a pioneering band when it comes to jangle pop, so that makes them creative.
Good ones, both of you.
Thanks, Archie.
If a double-decker bus crashes into us, to die by your side is such a heavenly way to die.
I think I'm going to break the streak of albums you like, Archie. My pick is Food House by Food House. This is a hyperpop album by hyperpop pioneers Goopy and Fraxiom. These two created a delightful, chaotic album with LGBTQ+ themes, distorted vocals, and attacks on Ronald Reagan. It's the most Zoomer thing ever, and even though I am far removed from that generation, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I will never understand the appeal of hyperpop.
Understandable.
Shall I say, damn, I feel like there's a back. Damn, smell like Big the Cat. Now it's 4 p.m. Good splat 20.
For my pick, I'll go with Mothership Connection by Parliament. This is a funk album with a really whimsical concept. It's about black people from outer space taking control of a radio station and playing funk music. It's got such amazing song titles as Unfunky UFO and Night of the Thumpasaurus People. Need I say more?
Sounds awesome. I'll have to check it out. Anyway, my pick is Pamu Pamu Revolution by Kiari Pamu Pamu. This is a J-pop singer. Her music is pure sugar, and her whole aesthetic is basically that she's Japan's Lady Gaga. Her music videos are extremely strange. Though her music isn't that experimental, that doesn't stop it from being fun, though.
For my pick, I'll go with Summerlong by Rose City Band. This is a psychedelic country band. Think early 70s era Grateful Dead, except even more country. It's a pretty unique sound, combining relaxed country sections with more spacey parts. It's super fun and relaxing, like if the Grateful Dead could actually sound good on record instead of just in concert.
I resent that. The Grateful Dead are great no matter how you choose to hear them.
They are not.
I see Ken has bad taste.
Fuck off.
Yay, he restrained himself.
Sounds kinky.
Very funny.
This has been a fun list with a lot of great picks, but there's one thing this list is noticeably lacking. That would be sea shanties. My pick is Hostis Humani Generis by Ye Banished Privateers. This is a pirate-themed folk band, and man are they fun. All their songs are catchy with great sing-along choruses. These guys put Alastorm to shame, though I love them too.
Oh, please. Alastorm is way better than that sea shanty shit.
That's like saying Silver Sun Pickups is better than Smashing Pumpkins.
But they are.
Never mind.
The northern wind blows wherever Johnny goes. Do another lap round the capstan, Johnny, round and round she goes.
My pick is California by Mr. Bungle. This is an experimental rock album that incorporates elements of all kinds of genres and has some extremely surreal lyrics. They're one of the most experimental bands I've ever heard, so much so that this is their most accessible album, even with all the wild genre transitions and experimental parts. If you want something weird, check this out.
Probably my least favorite Mr. Bungle album, but still a great pick.
I prefer Disco Volenti myself, but I thought this would be a good beginner album.
The self-titled is my favorite, but whatever.
My pick is Stuck on Repeat by Stereo Skyline. This album is from my favorite genre, that being neon pop punk. It's a bright, happy, and incredibly neon album with an adorably feminine-sounding vocalist, and some of the cutest lyrics ever. It's about as pop punk can get, and I love it. And if you're one of those old-school punk snobs who hate this, I have to ask, why do you hate fun?
We don't hate it because it's fun. We hate it because it's annoying. Oh, high queen of bad taste.
Sure, Michelle, whatever you say.
If you want fun that isn't annoying, check out The Queers, The Riverdales, and Masked Intruder.
No thanks. I like my fun to be as annoying as possible.
In all seriousness, check them out. You might like them.
Okay.
Hey, hey, beautiful. Sunshine shines so on.
For my pick, I'll go with Their Satanic Majesty's Request by the Rolling Stones. This is the Rolling Stones' attempt to appeal to hippies, and while I'm not normally a fan of the kind of music played on here, I'd argue they do the sound well. It's fun, it's whimsical, and as far as psychedelic pop goes, it's one of the best. She's a Rainbow is a 10 out of 10 song.
Well, now I know what Their Satanic Majesties are requesting. It's that Derry stops acting like the Rolling Stones make better psychedelic pop than the Beatles.
Are you trying to reignite the Beatles versus Stones war or something?
Yes.
My pick is Volume 1 by Magic Sword. This is one of the most epic synthwave albums I've ever heard, and I don't mean epic in the colloquial sense either. This album feels like an epic fantasy novel with a hero's journey at its center. It's a lot of fun, and it's quite different from most synthwave I've heard.
Sounds awesome. We'll have to check it out.
My pick is Saturday Morning Apocalypse by Power Glove. These guys are a cover band that do power metal covers of video game and cartoon soundtracks. Sounds pretty goofy, but the covers are actually really awesome with some great guitar work. Also, while these covers are mostly instrumental, Tony Kakko of Sonata Arctica does do vocals on a couple of these tracks, and he knocks it out of the goddamn park.
Power Glove was on my list of possibilities too. Glad someone picked them.
No problem.
My pick is Ara Drag by Me First and the Gimme Gimmes. Similar to Corey's pick, these guys are a cover band that do 90s era punk covers of non-punk songs. On this album, they do covers of songs from musicals. Interesting idea. And their covers of Rainbow Connection from The Muppets and Favorite Things from The Sound of Music are hilarious. So yeah, this album is a blast to listen to.
Hell yeah, cover band gang, unite!
Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper petals and warm rolling mittens, brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things.
And finally, for my pick, I'll go with This Is No Fairy Tale by Carrick and Grienne. This is a symphonic black metal album. And it's also a concept album. Basically, the story this album tells is a dark Hansel and Gretel retelling. Instead of a witch, there's an evil clown. It definitely feels like a B-horror movie. But as far as things that feel like B-horror movies go, I'd argue it does what it's trying to do pretty well.
And with that, we have finished the first episode in this series. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to do all that YouTube algorithm stuff. I'm Laura Ingram. These guys are Sarah Palin, Michelle Bachmann, Ann Coulter, Megan Kelly, Marjorie Green, Lauren Boebert, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ayanna Pressley, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Jamal Bowman, Cori Bush, Paris Hilton, Alex Trebek, Pat Sajak, Vanna White, Ken Jennings, James Holzhauer, Brad Rutter, Anne Frank, Mindy McCready, Greta Thunberg, Ponyboy Curtis, Soda Pop Curtis, Derry Curtis, Steve Randall, Two-Bit Matthews, Dally Winston, Johnny Cade, Phileas Fogg, Megan Phelps Roper, Ellen Ripley, Jeanette McCurdy, Miranda Cosgrove, and Archie Bunker, and this is Team Counterculture signing off.